Hey, Science 20s, a couple quick review questions on collisions. So looking at this first one, you're running at 3.5 meters per second. You collide with the fridge. He's that really chonky football guy who was just super scary. And he's moving in the same direction as you at 2.5 meters per second. You tackle him by jumping on his back. How fast are you now going? Okay, so this is a hit and stick collision. Because, well, if you jump on somebody's back, you're not really stuck to them, but you're moving in the same direction as them, okay? So we have mass and velocity of the first system adding to mass and velocity of the second system, and that's going to be equal to mass of the first and second, because hit and stick, remember, they're stuck together, right? Times velocity of them both put together, okay? So let's write down what we know. I'll keep it kind of fast. You weigh your mass 40 kilograms. Your speed is 3.5 meters per second. The fridge weighs 120 kilograms. And he's moving at 2.3 meters per second. Now, we can add up both of the masses of once you jump on the fridge. That equals 160 kilograms. So we're trying to solve for the velocity of how fast you're going when you're on his back. Okay, so what we know is we know this, we know this, we know this, we know this, and we know this. Okay, what we don't know is this. All right, so let's put our numbers in and see how we can solve for this. So 40 kilograms. All right, times by V1, which is 3.5 meters per second. Okay, that's the first part. We're going to add that to mass of the second system, 120 kilograms. And we're going to times that by how fast the fridge is moving, 2.3 meters per second. Okay, and that's equal to 160 kilograms and V1 plus V2. Okay, so let's do all the math on the left-hand side. All right, so 40 times, I'm going to do this just on my calculator for speed. 40 times 3.5 is 140. 120 times 2.3, okay, is 276. Now I'm just going to add that together just to speed things up a bit. I get 416. Is equal to 160 times V1, V2. So in order to get V1, V2 by itself, I'm going to divide both sides by 160. So 416 divided by 160 gives me 2.6. And that is meters per second. So you didn't really make him move a little faster, but he's a big guy. All right, second review question. You leave a paintball grenade to take out the dean of the pesky city college. 0.4 gram chunk flies north, and the 0.1 chunk flies south. So this is an explosion. And those of you who watch Community may know this is a Community reference because they always play paintball in Community. Okay, so an explosion, before the explosion, everything is zero because nothing's moving. And then you have the mass and speed of one chunk of the explosion and mass and speed of the second chunk of the explosion. Okay. Now, before we get going too far, let's just say that north is going to be positive and south is going to be negative, right? Because I haven't been putting arrows on there. In this question, we have two chunks flying in different directions. It's really important you pick one direction to be positive and one direction to be negative. Okay. So the north chunk, the one flying north, is 0.4 kilograms. And the speed of that chunk is positive 4.5 meters per second. The mass of the second chunk is 0.1 kilograms. And we don't know how fast that's going. Right? That's what we're trying to find, is how fast the second chunk is going. Okay, let's put our values in there. The mass of the first system is 0.4 kilograms, and we're going to times that by positive 4.5 meters per second. Okay, and we're going to add that to We're going to add that to mass of the second system, 0.1, and we don't know speed. Okay, all right, so let's do our math. 0 is equal to 0.4 times 4.5. Okay, I get 1.8 plus 0.1 V2. Okay, now I have to get rid of 0.8, so I'm going to subtract 0.18 from either side. That gives me then negative 1.8 is equal to 0.1 V2. So by adding or multiplying these two together, I get 1.8. And then because we are adding these, I have to subtract. And when you subtract from 0, you get a negative value. Now to get V2 by itself, I'm going to divide both sides by 0.1. So the speed of the second chunk of the explosion is bristling negative, because 1.8 divided by 0.1 is negative 18 meters per second. Now, you could just say 18 meters per second south. You don't need the negative, but we did say that south is negative. All right, so that's just a quick couple examples of collisions for review.